all your worries, gonna be alright. Sign the judge and jury, and we'll be up all night. You better check for pose. You better check for pose. You better check for
They are dead on that.
all the bad things love can bring, all in the blind spot that we don't see. Wipe the dirt.
It was earlier tonight. I don't
13th, she had her 13th birthday party. She was happy that we were all together.
She wanted to walk the rest of the way.
You will hurt the ones that love you, and they will hurt you right back. Sing along, sing along. Our love is a heart attack. You better check the pulse.
All right, everybody, welcome back to What's the Obsession Friday. It's Friday night date night on What's the Obsession. We always have a Friday night date night live stream, and it's Friday night, so yay, and here we are. So welcome, everybody. Please just give me some feedback on the sound check. How is the audio? Does everything sound okay? So it's so great to see all of you guys. Welcome, moderators, subscribers, viewers, members, people who are just checking us out. If you don't mind, please consider hitting the like and maybe share the link with a friend who you think might want to be here, because tonight we are going to be talking about something. I think this is pretty wild. We are going to be talking about the Watts case, and well, guess who? Chris Watts' former mistress, Nichol Kessinger. And we are going to be talking about this idea of control that Nichol Kessinger had over Chris Watts. Was it control? Was it more than control? Or was she just suggestive with him? And how much did she have to do with the horrible events that happened on August 13th, 2018, when Chris Watts, perhaps with the help of another, and we know who that might be, took the lives of his beautiful family, his wife Shanann, who was 15 weeks pregnant, his daughter Bella, and his daughter Celeste. So it has long been speculated that Nichol Kessinger, Chris Watts' former mistress, was involved in some kind of witchcraft or some kind of cult or just some kind of practice that was a little dark. In fact, Chris Watts himself, in one of his interviews, said that he didn't want, or he said to Sherilyn Cadle, that he didn't want to talk about what happened in Nichol Kessinger's apartment specifically, but what happened in that space was very dark and that he would take it to his grave. So what was that? Were they doing drugs? Was there some kind of threesome? Some people have speculated. Were they dabbling in some kind of witchcraft or dark magic or dark element that Chris Watts felt uncomfortable with? So we're going to look at a few things tonight. We're going to look at some of the speculation that has long been held by a number of people about Kessinger's involvement with the occult, witchcraft, OTO. If you know what that is, you're going to know in a little while. But then also, we're going to continue listening to the VEROSCOPE forensic linguistic analysis of Nichol Kessinger's interview. And if you aren't familiar with VEROSCOPE, I will link in the description. I haven't yet, but I will do that in just a couple of minutes here. It's an amazing channel. He covers a number of true crime cases, including the Adelsons, Wendy Adelson, Charlie Adelson, Donna Adelson, and the murder of Dan Markel, Jennifer Soto and Stefan Stearns, who took the life of Madeline Soto, and a whole number of other cases. He analyzes the statements of the witnesses in the Karen Reed trial. It's a really amazing channel. I'm so happy that he's analyzing the statements of Nichol Kessinger and Chris Watts using this very specific method of forensic linguistics that is able to, with a high degree of accuracy, detect deception or, on the other hand, truthfulness in a person's statement. So the person who runs the channel, VEROSCOPE, who's just brilliant, you guys are just going to love him if you haven't been exposed to him yet. If you have, you know you already love him and his accent. Without having any familiarity with the case, in his most recent episode, analyzing Nichol Kessinger's interview with this forensic linguistic analysis method called VEROSCOPE, he suggests that she used hypnotic language to influence, persuade, or control Chris Watts, and therefore, in turn had something to do with a tragedy that happened on August 13th, 2018. So we're going to put all of that together, wrapped up into this one live stream, and I'm so glad you guys are here for it tonight. So those of you who've been here to watch the forensic linguistic analysis through VEROSCOPE, what do you think of the channel? Maybe you watched it, aside from What's the Obsession. Maybe you just found the channel yourself. Please put in chat what you think about it. And if you aren't familiar with it, please go subscribe, check it out. I know that you're going to love it. So again, welcome to everybody who's here tonight. I'm so glad you guys are here. Oh, and hey, you know what? Tomorrow night, we're going to have a YouTube and Patreon members only live stream. And I've got it all figured out how to work it on YouTube and Patreon. I've spent the past few days really nailing that down. So it's going to be high quality audio, high quality video. You guys are going to absolutely love it. So if you are not a Patreon member, you can check out the link right here. Maybe consider becoming a member. We do live streams over there. We can talk about things in an uncensored way. We're going to be talking about more of the Nichol Kessinger information that I cannot talk about on YouTube, that I've been giving you in little drips and drabs. We did a members only live stream a few days ago and discussed that. So you can check that out over on Patreon. Actually, I made that available to everyone just so you can, see what we're discussing. It is audio only. That one was audio only. And we're also going to be talking about some of the more horrible things in the Epstein files. I know, really, it's just disgusting stuff that YouTube will not even allow. So that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow night, Saturday night at 9 p.m. But without further ado, let me bring this into the stream. This is from a channel called Crime Catalyst. Let me make sure I got that name right. Yeah, Crime Catalyst, and I'll link it in the description too. And she did a video series doing a deep dive into the possibility of Nichol Kessinger being involved with the dark, the occult, or witchcraft. Now, I just want to say before this starts, I don't have a committed opinion one way or another on whether Nichol Kessinger was involved in, this kind of a thing. But I think there's definitely something to it. What I want to know is, what do you think?
This shocked me just as much as it shocked Brett.
Chris Watts confessed to killing his young daughters and his pregnant wife in Colorado out in 2018. Since then, he's been locked up in prison. Now, in August 2018, brutal took place in Frederick, Colorado. A pregnant mother named Shanann Watts and her two daughters. Her husband, Chris Watts, spoke with both police and the media, saying he had no idea where his family was and just wanted them back home safe. He admitted he was having an affair with a woman named Nichol Kessinger, who he met through work. The affair had been going on for several months.
A dramatic moment. Cops confront Chris Watts' mistress after his pregnant wife and two daughters to start a new life with her.
Police spoke with Kessinger about her connection to the case.
I didn't know what was going on at that point. So,
The just released video shows 30-year-old Nichol Kessinger being interrogated.
Is there concern that you're hiding something? Potentially. Did you ever say anything we did about never?
Sobbing over the gruesome fate of the children, 4-year-old Bella and 3-year-old Celeste.
He's so disgusting. I'm so ashamed of him.
Why? How? I don't even understand how you could bring yourself to do that to somebody who's that big.
We've spent literal months talking about the dark things in the Watts case, and we're still not done.
This woman was targeting him in order to ritualize his marriage. This woman in and of herself was not in human form when she went after Chris Watts. She stopped him. There was a disassociation from the human frame with this mistress, and there was an energy that came with her that went after Chris Watts. And there's some element of energetic manipulation. She stepped out, someone stepped in, and they went after Chris. The mistress became his downfall. His downfall. His downfall.
It's just like,
So that's Bella Sloan, and a number of you have suggested that I start to watch her. She is a psychic, right? And you know what the work that she does on the Watts case, and specifically, excuse me, frog in my throat, Nichol Kessinger. I think she is definitely very interesting. You know, but she suggests that there was a dark energy that came along with Nichol Kessinger when Nichol Kessinger came into Chris Watts' life, and that dark energy essentially attacked Chris Watts. So would that then absolve Nichol Kessinger of any culpability if it was the dark energy that went after him? Is the dark energy separate from Nichol Kessinger? Those are the kind of questions that I have in my mind when I hear stuff like that. What do you guys think?
let me just see how this plays out. It was really exciting. Like, I like helping him. This is what he told me he wanted. So I was like, well, I'll help you.
So be right ready without the next for the latest one.
I was in a position to do it. He seems pretty.
Is the sound glitchy, guys? Somebody said the sound's glitchy. Claudia said the sound is glitchy. How is the sound for you guys? Let me see if anyone else said that. Do you guys hear the sound is being glitchy? The audio in this video that I'm playing is a little different. It sounds crackly. Shit. God, it's like fine on my end. Well, let me just play this for another couple minutes. And if this doesn't, let me ask you this. How does it sound when I'm just speaking aside from the video? Do I sound okay? And if, this doesn't work, I'll just put in the VEROSCOPE video. Let me know, please. Not me, just the video. Okay, let me try this. We'll see how it goes. And if not, I will change it up. Okay.
To do it. He didn't want to.
Like, I'm trying to go back in my head. I'm just like, I didn't want to do this, but I did.
I was trying to push him to do it. He didn't want to. He seems pretty reluctant to do it. I was trying to push him to do it, and he didn't want to.
I didn't want to do this.
It's hard. It's like the dream job. I feel awful about all of this. Like,
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt again, but she's trying to do some like artistic kind of sound effects and stuff. I don't know if that's what the problem is, but just keep giving me the feedback, and yeah, we can change it up if we need to. It's okay.
I wanted that for so long to get out of the oil field. I was so tired of living on oil rigs. It's such a rough life. I just moved in the office and working in my house, and I finally got it, and all this happened. Finally got it, and all this happened.
Nichol Lee Kessinger was into some dark things. She carried around crystals, traveled to ceremonial places, had knowledge about powerful magic and rituals. And then she set her eyes on Chris Watts. She had a spiritual advisor, and God only knows what she needed one of those for. Was he a teacher, a guide? They're sometimes called spiritual counselors, energy healers, transformational friends. They are someone to assist another in their fully awakening to the fullness of their being. They might be called a guru, rabbi, mentor, mystic, witch doctor.
These people are very rare. They have always been there and always will be. They live on different continents and pray to different gods. But they all have abilities that are beyond explanation. Their words are prophetic. Their undertakings sometimes contradict the laws of physics. The mysterious chosen ones, the people of knowledge.
A witch doctor can be comparable to a medicine man. They might also be called a shaman, wizard, healer, sorcerer, necromancer, conjurer, or a voodooist. Nichol Kessinger was very sneaky. She went to great lengths to hide information, especially information about the conversations she had with her friends.
I don't have to ask anything more than, "Hi, Chris, my name's Kevin." And I'm not saying you have to go to but if at some point
She was very upset about having to give the investigators access to her phone and her communications with her friend Jim and her best friend Charlotte.
On top of that, I just was like, oh my gosh, phone between me and all my friends. I'm like, do they really want all this stuff?
well, is there anything in those texts that you'd be concerned with?
Not really.
So, well, not really, or yes or no?
No, I mean, like,
The only reason we even know about her so-called spiritual advisor is because of online sleuths looking through her phone records. She got incoming calls from her spiritual advisor at 2:28 and 2:35 on the day of the murder. His name is Robert Edsardi, and he has a background in computer sciences. It's really not known exactly.
Okay, so did you guys hear that? She got a call from this spiritual advisor who is a member of the OTO cult, that Otis Temper. I never remember how to say it. Let me just go back there a couple seconds. She got a call from this guy who's involved in that OTO cult 2 times on the day of the murders around 2:30. She's going to say the exact times right here. So why was Nichol Kessinger in touch with that person on that day? We have her phone records for 6 weeks, and this is the only time he appears in the phone records. Did she need his consult? Did she know that something happened? Well, I know that she knew something happened, and we've been talking about that on Patreon. So if you want to know about that, come to the Patreon YouTube members live tomorrow night. Let me go back just a few seconds.
phone between me and all my friends. I'm like, do they really want all this stuff?
Well, is there anything in those texts that you'd be concerned with?
Not really.
So, well, not really, or yes or no?
No, I mean, like,
The only reason
Gosh darn, it was my mic muted. Okay, so I was just emphasizing that Nichol Kessinger spoke with her. Okay, what the heck? I don't even know.
we even know about her so-called spiritual advisor is because of online sleuths looking through her phone records. She got incoming calls from her spiritual advisor.
Okay, here we go. So she's emphasizing here that Nichol Kessinger got incoming calls. What the frick? From her spiritual advisor 2 times. Jesus, I don't know what's going on. All right.
At 2:28 and 2:35 on the day of the murder. His name is Robert Edsardi, and he has a background in computer sciences. It's really not known exactly what his role was. What exactly was he advising Nichol about? Typically, they teach the way to attain wealth, notoriety, and power. They might teach you how to grow your bank account, money secrets, secure your future, or something more sinister. His spiritual advisor was said to be a part of the OTO. The OTO is a religious group or a cult who practices yoga, meditation, ceremonial magic, ritual nudity, and more.
Hey, witch doctor, give us the magic words!
With her spiritual advisor being a part of the OTO, I would think there's a high probability that he may have been a witch doctor who might be trained in herbs, magic, and religious rituals. Someone you might call on to denounce works of magic.
Oh, little sickie seems to be the pain. Got all these herbs all mean about the thing. I'm a little witch with magic tricks. Come and get your fix. Crystals, rings, I like to taste them on peel. Open the mind, change the mind is how we achieve. Can't hurt to try right is what I believe. Witch doctor, witch doctor.
You might recognize this little tune. It's a novelty song about someone seeking advice from a witch doctor to win someone over, with the witch doctor responding in a high-pitched, nonsensical chant.
What did you do?
I told the witch doctor I was in love with you.
What did you do?
I told the witch doctor I was in love with you. And then the witch doctor, he told me what to do. He said that.
What did you do? What did you do, Chris?
what did you do? And then, and I kept asking him too, like, what did you do, Chris? What did you do? What did you do, Chris?
The idea is that the witch doctor is giving them this string of gibberish that they would then repeat back to their love interest. This gibberish or chant will subconsciously make the person lower their defenses and fall madly in love. They will be convinced that she is the person that he wants to be with.
What did you do, Chris? What did you do? I didn't hurt my family. And he was like, I didn't do anything. I'm like, where's your family? But I'm still like in my head, just kind of like stressed out. If you did something bad, I was like, you're gonna ruin your life. And I was like, if you did something bad, I was like, you're gonna ruin my life. And I was like, and I promise you that.
In my last video, I said I would share my theory, but didn't actually get around to explaining it in detail. But now I'm going to walk you through what I think could have happened and how this thing progressed into what it ultimately became. And we're going to get into some more dark things. If Nichol was
Okay, so I'm going to stop this here for now. We're going to come back to it. We're going to switch gears a little bit, but I want to read some of these comments and talk about some of the things that she was just talking about in this video. I mean, like, really, we have to unpack it. There was a lot there. I have a frog living in my throat tonight. I'm so sorry, guys. Excuse me. So let's see. So now Sky Dream, and welcome, sweetheart. How are you doing? It's very knowledgeable about the case. Always love hearing your comments. Says, I think she was in contact with the advisor to set up the trigger. Okay. That wasn't one I meant to read, but yeah, that too. So Sky Dream also had said that Nichol Kessinger owned a yoga studio too. Now, I was just saying to Sky Dream, I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I owned a yoga studio in Philadelphia for 12 years. That's what I did full time for 12 years. It was an old city, Philadelphia. It was called Inner Bliss. It was awesome. We did yoga and Pilates. So the company that Nichol Kessinger had incorporated, please excuse me, I need to take a drink. Just one second. Just one moment. Got to get the frog out of my throat. I just went for a walk in the pouring rain. Probably wasn't good for me. Okay. So Nichol Kessinger had incorporated a company called Satya LLC. So the word Satya in Sanskrit, the word Satya itself means like truth, truthfulness, but it has a special meaning. Satya means the highest truth, almost like a divine truth. So the company that Nichol Kessinger incorporated, and it was incorporated for just 2 years, ending in 2018, I believe. I'm going to look at that while watching the video. I'm pretty sure that's the case. Was called Satya LLC. Now, we do not know for certain what this LLC did, why she created this company. All we know is it's called Satya LLC. I have looked so deeply into this. And Satya, yes, is a word associated with yoga. In yoga, there's what's called the 8 limbs of yoga, like the 8 things, eight ways you should live your life, essentially. And these are really important, highly revered ideas. And Satya is one of them, like the ultimate, the divine truth. How ironic that the company that Kessinger incorporated or, started was called Satya, meaning the ultimate truth, when she's such a goddamn liar, right? And Alpha Omega 888 says the OTO is supposedly the real deal. They can conjure demons, etc. Yeah, I've heard that of them. I mean, people fear this group, right? KJ Wade asks, why is there a crystal under Bella's bed? That poor baby girl. Now, was that confirmed? See, I felt like they found a rock. I don't know if it was ever confirmed it was a crystal. Do you know anything about this? But maybe, I don't know. I've looked into it, but I don't know. I think that it was a rock. It could have been a crystal. And the dog did indicate it, Bella's bed, but Bella was a prolific book reader. She always read her books. When mom turned on the rain machines and turned out the lights and the girls weren't even really tired, Bella would read a book and sit there in the dark and read the book. We know she did this because there's some Facebook posts saying so. And Cindy Watts also talks about it. So Bella most likely had her little hands on that book very recently, and the dog did indicate there. So that is pretty interesting, right? It's just really crazy stuff. So yeah, if I so Crime Catalyst in the video we were just watching points out that Nichol Kessinger gets 2 incoming calls around 2 and 2:30 p.m. on the day of the murders. And we have her phone records for 6 weeks, guys, and those are the only incoming calls that she receives from that spiritual advisor who was a member of the OTO. That is for certain. I researched it myself, and it's true. So what is up with that? Did Nichol Kessinger know what happened in those early morning hours? Well, I know that she did. And that is something that we are talking about over on Patreon. So we're going to continue discussing that and the evidence that lets me know that I know that she knew what happened. And the Patreon and YouTube members live tomorrow night at 9 p.m. So if you want to be there for that, definitely come check it out. Yeah. Book, All My Broken Pieces Under Bella's Bed. No, All My Broken Pieces was Cindy Watt's book. Well, it actually was my friend Kathleen McKenna Hudson's book that somebody stole, but it was Cindy Watt's account. But the book was, oh gosh, I have a picture of it. I can't remember what it's called. And ironically, it's from one of the book series from that MLM book company that Shanann was a part of. But I digress a little bit here. Okay, we're going to go back to the video we were just watching, but I want to bring in the VEROSCOPE analysis here because it's really crazy how the VEROSCOPE analysis connects these ideas that were just touched upon in this video when he truly knows nothing about the case and is only analyzing Nichol Kessinger on her words during her interviews with law enforcement. So let me switch that up here. Welcome to everyone who's coming in. I'm so glad you're here. Please say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. And if you don't mind, please consider hitting a like, maybe share the link with somebody that might want to be here. And I appreciate you guys. Okay, so his video is called, Did Nichol Kessinger Hypnotize Chris Watts? And again, the links for both these videos will be found in the description.
The VEROSCOPE analysis of Nichol Kessinger, and we're going to be looking at her police interview video. And we are going to be analyzing using statement analysis and forensic linguistics, her words. So look at this. Look at this, finding one. This is Nichol Kessinger in the Chris Watts case. We're analyzing her own words. Look at this, lesson point number 1. Nichol Kessinger thought of everything to say in her communications with Chris Watts, except the one thing anyone would say first. Look, when Chris tells Nichol his family is not home, she gives advice, and you've seen her talk, a lot of it. Lots of separate instructions. Park the truck out of sight, have a friend there as a witness, record everything on your phone, do not go to work, stay home and wait. No doubt she thought of everything except this. The one thing that you and I would say, have you tried calling her? The most obvious question in the world. And it's not mentioned even once. If your friend says, my wife left after a fight, as an example, what is the first thing you say before anything? You say, did you try calling her? A child would ask it. Nichol, who had advice for truck placement, witness arrangements, video documentation, never asks it. Now, when somebody never asks the obvious, it's normally because they know in advance that it's not necessary.
Okay, so this is something that I really love about this channel. He points out some of these pretty obvious things, but that we might not think about because we're so busy deep diving into this case. The one thing Nichol never asks, of all of the words and words and words and words that she says, is she never asked Chris, did you call her? Or how are the kids? Like, anything about an update on the kids, right? And so through this VEROSCOPE analysis methodology, he talks about that a person will not ask a question that the mind already knows the answer to. So in this case, meaning if Nichol Kessinger already knew that Shanann was no longer of this earth, of course she wouldn't ask, have you tried calling her? Because her mind already knows the answer to that question. And that, my friends, is indeed the case.
She knew the phone was at the house, but a brain thinking she left in a hurry would still suggest it. Maybe she went back for it. Maybe a friend is relaying messages. The brain that skips this step has already moved past the possibility of contact. Now notice she uses the word told. I told him to stay home. I told him to have a friend there. I told him to record everything. Told is a command. Do you see? I said is softer. I asked is softer. I suggested is softer. I told is management commanding language. Let's carry on. Let's go back to the video analysis itself and see what Nichol Kessinger has to say for herself today.
Prior to the newspaper, how did you know he was in financial difficulty?
Because when I went to that house, everything in there is very, 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 very nice.
Okay, so notice immediately, if you're learning with VEROSCOPE, where we teach everything, by the way, everything is published on the Open Science Framework, and there is a link in the description to the VEROSCOPE papers, which explain all of the breakthroughs in recent science with regards to deception detection. And we have had many breakthroughs. The field was stuck for 60 years, don't forget, until we discovered what the problem was. And that was only recently. And VEROSCOPE published the papers. And the field have now a choice of analyzing the papers, recognizing their errors and mistakes, and replicating. That's important for justice. That's important for the innocent. There are still innocent people in jail around the world, and language in their statement can prove their innocence to a high degree. We think we can achieve over 85%. Now, yes, that's 15% inaccurate. You know, that 15 people out of 100, you'd get it wrong. But 85 out of 100, you'd get right. And for those 85 in jail who are innocent, this is important work. Nobody's going to rely absolutely entirely just on the percentage accuracy of the statement. That isn't what is being suggested. But it adds an extra dynamic of information for a jury, for a judge, for a parole hearing. Do you see? It's absolutely vital that justice is not delayed through institutional gatekeeping, ego, and the tradition of the courts and science being extremely slow. We have the data. We have the science. It's all published. Let's carry on.
It looks like it all comes with a very expensive price tag. And I didn't say anything to him about it, but I could kind of tell then where I was like just looking at everything like, how do you guys afford this? And then he has that car. I don't even know how much that car costs, but I bet
what car is
that Lexus. I'm sure that thing costs like 80 grand, but just like money. Like everything just looked like it costs a lot of money in that house.
You probably have a decent idea of how much money he makes.
Yeah, and it's not enough money to pay for all that, not even close.
Did you have any idea of what Shanann did for a living or how much money she might have made?
I mean, I had an idea. I would consider her like a sales rep. I don't know how else to describe that.
Okay, so are you noticing the constant self-censorship, the victim-blaming, derogatory type of attitude that she has, minimizing Shanann's success? Like a sales rep, she's absolutely minimizing Shanann. It's a form of victim blaming. We put in the deceptive markers.
He totally nailed that, didn't he?
for the company that she worked for, and I don't know exactly how much she made. He said that she was really competitive and she liked to try to keep up with him. He's like, she gets close sometimes. So I don't know how much those two brought in. I mean, off the top of my head, if I could guess, probably somewhere around like 140K a year. I mean, I don't know, because I don't know exactly how much he makes, and I don't know exactly how much she makes, but based just off of like what I know about the oil field, like, yeah, I would say that's probably an accurate estimate.
So even if they're making, let's just use the figure $100,000, they're living above their means or below their?
Oh my God, like
way too much.
Way.
Did he ever discuss with you any of those issues?
I mean, a little. I mean, I didn't know about the bankruptcy or anything.
I mean, a little. I mean, do you see the pattern? If you've watched 10 or 12, if you've watched a dozen or so VEROSCOPE videos, you'll immediately recognize what we call the accent of deception. This is the overall pattern, and it's quite easy to get skilled at picking up this language pattern. It doesn't show you exactly where the lies are, and it doesn't show you exactly what has happened, but it tells you immediately the person is being deceptive to you. You can read it in your emails. Once you've watched enough VEROSCOPE videos, you can read it in your WhatsApps. Don't look at your ex's WhatsApps after you've learned VEROSCOPE Forensic Linguistics Intelligence. I promise you, don't open up Pandora's box. You might not like what you see, but I know you're going to. I know you're going to, because everyone does. They can't help it. They learn a little bit about statement analysis and forensic linguistics intelligence, and they can't help it. They look at their ex's communications and they discover that they're right. And he was an arsehole. Or she was a bit of a nutter. Let's carry on.
That till I read on the newspaper about that, but I think he was really frustrated with the situation. He told me, he's like, I feel like my paycheck goes in my bank account and I just watch it go like this. He's like, but it doesn't have to. He's like, she makes it like that. And I was just
was he resentful for that?
I don't know if he was resentful. I just think he was frustrated by the fact that they could be doing a lot better financially, and she, from the vibe that I got, had really bad spending habits.
Okay, so, oh, geez, I forgot. So some of you are talking in chat about the financial aspect of this case, and Meatloaf earlier sent a super chat. Thank you so much, Meatloaf. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and for leaving this. Says, the tragedy happened because of the disastrous financial situation, but the media didn't cover that because the other woman sold tickets. I think that the disastrous financial situation was part of the equation for sure. Yes, I do. And I'm not victim blaming for that. I do think Shanann was responsible for the disastrous financial situation. I mean, she just was. I think that, there is a lot that goes into this equation. It's a complex, like calculus style equation that led to that was the formula that led to this horrific outcome. And I do think it was part of that. And again, thank you so much for the super chat.
That couple.
Okay.
In 2015. Oh, Shanann and Chris.
Wait.
Filed bankruptcy in 2015.
Okay. And you said for a lot of money. Do you recall the amount?
No, because
here's an example of how she can't. Oh, I'm getting my line confused with his. How she can't even say her name, Shanann.
In a pretty expensive house.
It's a huge house.
Yeah.
I was very taken back when I saw it. I was just like, whoa. How?
And then the fixtures inside caused you to pause.
Everything was just like.
And then you mentioned today you read something about bankruptcy.
Yep.
What did you read?
That those guys filed bankruptcy for a lot of money. And
who are those guys?
That couple.
Okay.
In 2015. Oh, Shanann and Chris.
Thanks.
Filed bankruptcy in 2015.
Okay. And you said for a lot of money. Do you recall the amount?
No, because it was different in each.
So notice that she has at last used Shanann's name. Where and why? Do you see? Are you with me? She's prepared to use Shanann's name under these circumstances because it's derogatory, because it's victim blaming. Do you see? Whereas Very rarely will she ever mention Shanann and the children's names. Only when it's a little chance to have a dig, a little chance to have a poke. Then she does.
Newspapers, and I don't know which one to believe.
Okay, and so Sky Dream says that Kelly's other video explains the whole financial situation with Shanann Watts, and that is true. I'm putting the link here in chat, and I'll put it in the description. There is a video that's been very well watched. A lot of people do like it. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely check it out if you're interested in this case. Has over 100,000 views. It's Shanann and Chris Watts' bankruptcy. Is MLM Thrive and Nichol Kessinger responsible for the murders? And that explains the entire financial situation in detail, fact-checked, verified, and all.
So hundreds of thousands of dollars. So yeah, I didn't know that.
Let's go just back to him and the financial. He tells you he has a concern enough to at least express something to you that he's frustrated with the way she spends, or he's upset with working so hard and never having any money, and she's kind of the responsible party for spending most of the money.
I pretty much got that vibe. I mean, he just told me, he's like, we're house broke all the time. I was just like, that's something.
So notice the detective feeds her. He's not giving her particularly clean questions. He's contaminating an awful lot. And Nichol is smart enough to feed back, but she'll use phrases like pretty much and then feed back what she thinks the detective wants. Did you hear that? Does that make sense? The phrase pretty much with Nichol means not exactly, no. But I'll go along with it for now.
Fortunate, and I asked him, I was like, do you have 401k? And he was like, yeah. And I mean, the reason I ask him this is because if I get into a relationship with somebody, I want to know like what kind of baggage that they have. I think that's important if I walk into a situation.
So notice how she's now, if I walk into a situation, the situation that they're in, she's forgetting that there's two little dead girls who are stuffed into oil tanks and a pregnant mother buried in a shallow grave. And she's talking about her arrogant, narcissistic type behavior with somebody and baggage. Doesn't she realize she is the one with the baggage? And no one's going to help her unpack.
I mean, how perfectly did he nail that one? Yeah.
Her two heavy suitcases are with her forever.
Where I'm like, hey, I have good credit and I have all these things that I've been building, and you don't have your stuff together. Like, what are we going to do with this? And it's important for your long-term.
You're smart.
Thing. So I'm preparing. And so I just asked him, I was like, well, do you have 401k? And he's like, yeah, I do have that. And then I asked him, I was like, I didn't ask him like how much debt they have.
These eye patterns, especially when they get to the third and the fourth eye, they generally mean that there's a level of deception afterwards, almost to the degree where the increased brain choice, which is a mixture of self-censorship, a mixture of cognitive load. When we see this pattern too often, it indicates deception, and it very often indicates, especially with 3 eyes and more, that the precise following is deceptive. So what does she say? I didn't ask him, so it's in the negative. What she didn't ask him is infinite, isn't it? Have you noticed that she does this? She uses the infinite pattern of the negative. Do you see how much you pick up in language when you stop? Really pay attention, what we call active listening, what we call empathy, linguistic empathy with the speaker. We start to recognize, start to pick up little patterns. We start to pick up little patterns of potential deception arriving in the next sentence. The infinite negative presentation. Let's carry on.
Or anything, but I just said, is your lifestyle sustainable? And he was like, no.
Okay.
And I was like, how long do you think that's going to take? He's like, I don't know, but it's not sustainable.
Where did his girls go to school?
I don't know. He never actually told me. Like when I asked.
So the actually is an interesting word. It's a comparison word. Never actually is also very deceptive normally. Never actually told me. So she's distancing from the girls wherever it's possible.
And once it was like when I was trying to find him an apartment, I was like, are you comfortable telling me where your girls go to school? That's.
Whoa. So they're together. They're looking for apartments. They're planning a new life together. And she expects us to believe that she says to Chris, are you comfortable to tell me where your girls go to school? What, is she some sort of...
Yeah, so this is one of the things where, now again, for those of you who just came in, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Please consider hitting like. Please say hello. Let us know where you're watching from and join in the conversation. My mic is being funky. I'm going to play this.
Psycho.
Damn it.
That Chris Watts would feel uncomfortable her knowing the school. Do you see the problem? Did that hit you like a ton of bricks? She's saying that she felt the need to say to her boyfriend, are you comfortable telling me where the children go to school? Because you know.
Okay, so let me try that again. So I love about this channel, he notices things like this. Like when she says, you know, I said, are you comfortable telling me where the girls go to school? I actually never thought about that being a sort of weird thing to say, but he just stops and is like, whoa, like why with somebody that you're dating would you phrase it like that? Like, if you think about it, if I'm dating somebody and they have children, you know, and I probably wouldn't even ask that question. I would just let them tell me about something so sacred as their children naturally. But I would say, you know, are you comfortable telling me like I could be a potential threat? You know, I think, you know, some of the subtleties and nuances that he picks up like that are really very, very valuable.
I'm a complete psycho bitch. Oh, no, she didn't say that. But it's kind of what she's saying, isn't it? No, she says, I use kind of. It's driving me crazy listening to this woman.
Too.
We hear you, bro. You feel the same way as all of the rest of us.
I was like, so I can figure out what distance from the apartment it is. I was trying to just make his life convenient with like him, his ex, his kids, and all the stuff that he needs to do and work. And he was like, don't worry about it. Their school's pretty centrally located, so anywhere in the area that we were discussing will be fine. And he just left it at
Well, it seems to have frozen. What happens if we can go forward a bit?
certain way and that we can like sustain all this stuff? And he's like, and we can't. And I told him, I said, when you're in those situations, why don't you, I'm like, do you like voice your concern about this? And he told me, he's like, when I try to talk to her, he's like, she's really bossy and she.
Right, let's go and look at some of the analysis. Where did we get up to? Nichol describes her own speech with told over and over. I told him to stay home. I told him to have a friend there. I told him to record everything. If you think a wife went to a friend's house, give her space, she'll be back. Try calling in the morning. What Nichol described, telling Chris, park the truck, get a witness, record everything, don't go to work, stay home. Do you see the problem? Have you called her? Normal. Well, give her some space, she'll be back. Or call her in the morning, perhaps. Normal. Park the truck, get a witness, record everything. Don't go to work, stay home.
this is another great point that he's making. All of the things that she is reporting that she told Chris Watts, they are all like, trying to cover something up, like something, they just did something bad. They're trying to cover it up. Like there's something sinister going on because she knew. It's not a normal conversation like, oh, we're all worried. Your wife and your kids now, they've kind of they've been missing for a little bit of time now. But it's like, like he just said, record this person, record her, hide your truck, do this, do that, cover everything up. Because she knew there was a necessity for a cover up. I promise you, it's a fact.
Delete everything off your telephone. Chris, delete it all. Do you see what she's doing? This is not the actions of an innocent woman, is it? When Nichol claims to have gone to bed and she couldn't sleep, could she? Now think about it. Let's say you've got a boyfriend. You've been with him for 6 weeks. That's all. Don't forget, Nichol sometimes claims that's so long that there's no way she can remember what was said or done or when. Other times she agrees that it's a very short time. But my point is this. Imagine you have a boyfriend you've been with for 6 weeks. And you call him up and he says, well, my wife's not here. She's missing. She might have gone somewhere. She might be with friends. Who knows? And let's say you're not aware that he's murdered her. Can you sleep? Nichol cannot sleep that night. And she says, and this was not even her family. She said, and this is not even my family, she said. She couldn't sleep all night. This is an important moment in the interview. Surely anyone can see it. No training required. But first, answer this for yourself. Your boyfriend says his wife left after a fight. She will probably be back by morning. How would you sleep that night? Sure, you might feel some concern. You might even check your phone, see if he's called and said, oh, she's come back. But would you lose an entire night's sleep? You've only been with him for 6 weeks and his wife hasn't come home. Now, if you knew more or you realized he might have done something, then you don't sleep all night. She knew. Listen to what Nichol did. She called Chris back in the middle of the night because she could not sleep. She could not sleep at all, she tells us. And when he answered, he sounded like he was sleeping. Chris Watts was sleeping. And she said something to the effect of, how the hell can you sleep right now? And he said he was dozing off. And she remembers thinking, I haven't shut my eyes yet, and this is not even my family. Do you see the problem? Nobody asked about sleep. She volunteers every word. The brain needed this on record. She's unable to sleep, and it's not even her family. And yet all it's meant to be is she just hasn't come home. She's missing. Nichol Kessinger is doing the actions of someone who knows. If it was you and I, we would have slept. But she could not close her eyes. Do you see the gap between those two responses? It's enormous. The wedding ring. Earlier that evening, Chris had mentioned that Shanann had left her wedding ring behind. Nichol asked, does that mean you two are done? And she tells us. And Chris said, how much do you think it's worth? Nichol, not knowing how to respond, said something like, I don't know, pawn it. It's not worth much. Chris said no, he would get it appraised. It's a nice rock. Nichol tells the investigators that this comment is what kept her awake. His wife has been gone for hours, and he is already asking her what her ring is worth. That is unsettling, isn't it? But look what she says. What does she say? Where's that? She says pawn it, doesn't she? Okay. Do you remember in the last video, didn't you think it was strange that she denied thinking about murder? When somebody denies what they're thinking about, it's very often because it is on the top of their mind. She said, murder isn't on the top of my mind. Do you remember? On the top of my mind. She's making errors everywhere. She didn't say it, murder is not on my mind. She said not on the top of my mind. There's a difference, isn't there? The door that would not close. Once you see this, you'll notice it everywhere. When someone denies something nobody accused them of, the denial tells you what is on their mind. You do not walk into work and say, I definitely did not rob a bank this weekend, everybody. If you did, your colleagues would think, why are you telling us that? Do you see? I mean, I'm being a bit over silly. I'm over egging it. But the denial raises the question. How many times does Nichol deny thinking about murder? Nobody in the room asks. First, she says she did not think they got murdered. Not a typical thought, she says, when somebody just checks out for a day. Second, she says she really thought she just left. She did. The extra I did is what we call a tag. Well, it's a tag along. And third, she describes the first time she considered whether this man could have hurt his wife. She places it on Tuesday after the lies. Let's go back to the video.
Usually shuts me out, and he's like, when she does that, he's like, I just let it go. And I'm just like, all right. I mean, I don't try to like interfere with how those two interact. But I did ask about it because I'm just curious, because I would never put myself in a situation where someone was like, you know what, we're going to live in this house that costs like double what we can afford, and that's how it's going to be, because I want everybody to think we're fancy, because I wouldn't do that.
And he makes such a great point right here. It's like, okay, you're talking about things that don't even matter relative to the fact that, you know, this family has just been murdered. But then she brings it back to herself because I wouldn't do that. You know, let me point out what a horrible person Shanann was. And I'm not that at all. And I'm everything that she's not. And I'm nothing that she is, which is all horrible. I mean, even at this point, she knows that Shanann is dead. It is like not even human that she could be talking about her like this and be so self-absorbed. It's truly unbelievable. It's like, what the fuck?
Because I wouldn't do that. Everything because, listen to this. This is what she really wants. I want everybody to think we're fancy. She wanted to replace Shanann like a black widow. Literally inserting herself into that position. Because I wouldn't do that.
I mean, to me, like, I wouldn't put up with somebody doing that to me.
Look, listen to her entire pattern. It's what she wouldn't do. She uses the infinite everywhere, the negative and the infinite everywhere.
And I'm not saying that that's what she was doing. I mean, for all I know, he could have been completely lying about this. He could be the one spending all the money.
Sure.
You know?
This is just what he told you.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's as far as I can interpret it. So I can't be like, well, oh, she needs to do this and she needs to do that. But he voiced his concern where it's just like, financially, I'm in a very bad spot that I don't need to be in, but I'm stuck in. And that was kind of where he was at. So, but I mean, he was never like mean when he talked about her. He was never hostile, like nothing like that. He just, I mean, very calmly, like, this is the situation. And I think the only reason that he even provided me with that information is because I asked.
Okay. You said something about her being controlling or
bossy.
That's
what he said. Bossy.
In like all aspects of their life, or what? Do you know exactly what he meant by that? How?
I want to get right back to this, but I just can't. I have to read this comment. So Tommy's girl says, what a weird thing after 6 weeks, I want to give you your first son. Well, wife was about to give him his first son. How coincidental. She didn't know. Okay. Such a great point. And this point can't be made enough, because I am telling you, it is known, and it was known by investigators, and it was known by District Attorney Rourke, that Nichol Kessinger knew that Shanann Watts was pregnant with Chris's child since before they were dating. Now, this is known to investigators and the district attorney with absolute certainty through the communications between Nichol Kessinger and Chris Watts, and hopefully someday those will be able to be made completely public. But also, in a number of videos that I've made, just anecdotally, we know that that's true. In the 4 days preceding the first known communication between Nichol Kessinger and Chris Watts, each of those 4 days were the first 4 days. And each of those 4 days, Shanann Watts posted a video about her pregnancy. And then on that 4th day, they started talking. And Nichol Kessinger says to him, thanks for being honest with me this morning. I mean, come on, people, come on.
That affected him.
I think he was just saying when he voices his opinion, it's not heard. Is the gist of that, which I thought, from what it sounded like from their separation, from them trying to separate, that was a big deal for him, where he was saying that the reason that they don't really get along.
I'm sorry, I just had to say this. Kevin, she managed to ruin her figure without getting pregnant. Well, as far as we know, at least, because, well, we've seen her recently, and her figure is ruined, that's for sure.
Anymore is because he feels like he's not heard. He says that he comes home from work and he tries to talk to her, and she'll just be like, 1 minute, I'm on the phone. Or she'll like scroll through social media and she like doesn't acknowledge him. And he said that he'd addressed it with her a few times and they're calm. He said they don't really like fight, like they don't scream and yell. And he said he'd addressed it with her a few times, and he said it just fell on deaf ears. He's like, she just seems like she's not interested anymore. And I think it made him sad, because I mean, he was like all about his kids, and he seemed like he was trying to be all about her, but it just wasn't reciprocated.
Now, I just want to point out that if there's children in the room, put earmuffs on them. They didn't scream and yell and fight like that, because Chris was a pussy whip bitch.
And I think at that point he was just like, they just kind of like fell apart.
Okay.
Just kind of drifted apart.
Was that your words or his?
What, the
fell
thing?
apart?
Those are mine.
Okay.
Those are mine. He just said that they didn't communicate very well. And it wasn't in a aggressive way communicate. It was just the fact that they didn't like.
So he just said, we noticed a minimization. There's just so many deceptive markers pouring out of her mouth that it's impossible to keep up, isn't it? For those of you with a pad and a pen who are marking down for practice all the deceptive markers, we are literally getting 2 or 3 per sentence. So it's good training. Keep going.
Communicate at all.
They just
They didn't talk.
they had children, and they was there ever mention that he was trying to resolve or save his marriage for the children's sake? You know, a lot of people talk about that. Did he talk about that?
I mean, he told me that he believed that the only reason that those two had still been doing it as long as they've been doing it, because he told me that her and him have had communication.
So did you notice that complete self-censorship? She got to 3/4 of the way through the sentence and just shut it down and started a brand new one. Can you see how this type of linguistic pattern, unless you're slowing down and specifically looking for it, can be missed? You'll never miss it again from now on. You'll notice every single time someone does 3/4 of their sentence, stops, restarts the sentence from the beginning, that's one time. Then they do it again. Then they do it again. Then they do it again. And they are self-censoring in pattern. In goes the deceptive marker. You know you are being attempted to be deceived. They're not being honest with you. They're not being straight. And that's just one signal. One signal alone will tell you the self-censorship, if they're being 100% straight with you. Now imagine this. Do you remember the word "and" that I mentioned the other week? And in truthful statements, the word "and" on the average appears twice as often as in fabricator statements. Isn't that strange? VEROSCOPE only identified that anomaly a few weeks ago. The field didn't know it. We published that on the science papers, along with many of the other findings. We now have literally hundreds, high hundreds, where each one adds a little.
And just let me reiterate that this method of forensic linguistic analysis is evidence-based scientific method approach, tried and true, proven to be accurate. So again, check out the channel. I would suggest that you subscribe. In the earlier videos, he teaches you how to apply the method yourself. Like I took notes on it, like I was taking a training. It's so super helpful. This channel, I just can't say enough great things about it. And I mean, man, how spot on is he with her?
A little extra percent. Well, it can't mathematically, can it? But a little extra, a little more accuracy. And the word "and," oh, that does so much heavy lifting. In fact, we took just the other week 35 words, just 35, and we outperformed a multi-million-dollar language model at detecting lies. VEROSCOPE did. What we wanted to do was demonstrate to the deception detection community of professors and doctors that their multi-million-pound language model, specifically developed to spot lies, it was outperformed by VEROSCOPE choosing 35 words, a pad and a pen, and just doing it manually, and we scored far higher. Isn't that incredible? The reason why we use 35 words to demonstrate to the field why their measurements were wrong, why the LLM was wrong. I mean, it's difficult telling everybody that they're wrong because you have to be a little bit understanding that. Don't forget, these scientists, every single bit of the jigsaw, it's all very easy now that they've identified all the bits of the jigsaw to put the jigsaw together. So let's not, decry the value of their work. Really, all I've been doing over the last 4 or 5 years is collecting a lot of the science that's been understood over the last 60 years and putting it all together. But 35 words outperformed that model. And we're going to be doing a paper on that. And we're going to show you exactly what those 35 words are. You can do it yourself manually if you want to bother. But little words like "and" really do much of that heavy lifting. They appear twice as much in a truthful statement as a fabrication. Let's carry on.
Issues for about 6 years, where she just seems really like detached and uninterested in like trying to like build something with him. And he said, and I said, 6 years is a really long time for you guys to not fix that, considering they were married for what, 8? I mean, that's like the majority of their marriage. And he said, sometimes I think we just do it for the kids or something like that. I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen these conversations, so I don't know like verbatim, but it was pretty much just like
get you to remember some.
Yeah, like, but he said it wasn't just him though. He was like, I think she does that too.
Okay.
You know, I mean, and it was like this equal part where they were just kind of like going through the motions, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, when he told me that she was cool with like the 50% everything and just like breaking it off and being really civil about it, it kind of made sense to me, because I was like, the way he made this sound, it wasn't, oh, she's this horrible person, or oh, I'm this horrible person. It was, her and I have drifted so far apart that it's kind of a mutual agreement that this is not going to work.
So in those 6 years, though, they had 2 children.
Yep.
And you said earlier you did not know she was pregnant until reading the newspaper.
Yep.
So that never came up in any conversation. There was no.
Is there a?
I mean, oh, well, that is the lie of the goddamn year. Oh, wait.
Part that it's kind of a mutual agreement that this is not going to work.
So in those 6 years, though, they had 2 children.
Yep.
And you said earlier you did not know she was pregnant until reading the newspaper.
Yep.
So that never came up in any conversation. There was no.
Is there a frog in the room or something? What's going on? Did you hear that, anyone? What's going on? What was that?
No indications that that was going on.
None.
He never hinted to anything like that. As far as you knew, he was just leaving her. He had 2 children, and
so the detective is essentially feeding her rather than asking questions, and all she has to do is make her frog noises.
That was the final take on that.
Yes, I know why he lied to me. He lied to me because if I'd have known that he had a child on the way, I'd have never wasted my time with him in the first place. Like, none of this would have ever even occurred if he would have just told me the truth.
None of this would ever even have occurred if he would have just told the truth.
Well, wait a minute. Hold it. There's so much to unpack there. I'm so glad he pointed this out. Because first of all, wow, what a big hole she's dealing herself here to say. And I know why he lied. I know why he didn't tell me that Shanann was pregnant. I know why he lied, because I never would have dated him in the first place. Bullshit, bitch. For the 4 days before your first communication with him, during which you thank him for being so honest, Shanann posted videos on Facebook about her pregnancy each of those days. So why is she extending this lie? And what he says here is just awesome. He's like, whoa, wait a minute. Let me go back a couple sentences. Listen really carefully here, guys. This is super important.
And all she has to do is make her frog noises.
That was the final take on that.
Yes, I know why he lied to me. He lied to me because if I'd have known that he had a child on the way, I'd have never wasted my time with him in the first place. Like, none of this would have ever even occurred if he would have just told me the truth.
None of this would ever even have occurred if he would have just told the truth. Wow. None of this would ever even occurred if he would have just told me the truth.
So get that. None of this would have ever occurred if he just told me the truth. Now, we know that the premise there is a lie, but she is giving herself credit for having the power to determine whether or not The events that occurred, which by the way are the murders of Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and unborn baby Nico, in her words, she is directly and clearly and unequivocally giving herself the power of that decision and of that fate. Do you guys get how big that is? Wow. Wow.
Did you just hear that? None of this would ever even occurred if he would have just told me the truth. Wow. She's claiming the ability for the murders of the two little children and his wife. It wouldn't have occurred if Chris had just told me the truth. That's the power she's claiming.
So do you think if he found out that you, if, let's say this week you guys were to go look at some apartments, and this is hypothetical, but you've never found out that his wife was pregnant, would that have changed anything? Like you just said, if I knew his wife was pregnant, I wouldn't be in this picture. So if his wife was not pregnant, and forgive me, but if he takes her out of the picture,
it's all very weak from this individual detective, isn't it? It's all he's still tiptoeing around the rose bush.
I'm so glad that he's finally acknowledging that Kevin Kobach is weak, because at first he was kind of, talking about him like he was respecting his strategies. Sorry, like he was respecting his detective strategies, but now he sees the real deal.
I mean, we understand why he doesn't want her walking out of the room, but he's not delivering clear questions that are uncontaminated with language and waiting for her answer.
We're going to know that she was pregnant, right?
What do you mean takes her out of the picture? Like,
if he murdered her, she's out of the picture. You're never going to know if she was pregnant. If he can get away with murder, you're not. I got divorced from my wife.
She's being very careful. She knows she's entered tricky ground, very dangerous territory. Notice the difference. She's become careful. Did you pick up that? Get linguistic empathy. Did you pick up? She's gone quiet. She's considering more. She's listening more. She knows this is dangerous. Did you notice? A change is something that we note. She knows this is dangerous. Let's carry on.
You say, do you understand what I'm saying here? If she,
boom, they both know it's dangerous. Don't they? They both know. They recognize the danger. He's now leaning forward. She's now looking for help.
Gone.
but this,
Don't leave,
Hypothetically.
please. Don't lead on.
Hypothetically. If she,
Okay.
you understand where I'm going? If
Right,
you
but
didn't know,
You're leading into questions that are nothing with your,
if you didn't,
Oh, Dad's come to the rescue. She's now praying.
know though
wait, Nick,
that she was there.
did you hear what I said?
Hey guys, welcome to those of you coming in. If you could all just take a moment to hit the like if you haven't, or at least consider it, I'd really, really appreciate it. I also just want you to know that we're having a Patreon and members YouTube live stream tomorrow night. We're going to be talking about some pretty juicy stuff. So if you're not a member, check it out. Here's the membership link right there. And back to VEROSCOPE.
I'm following you. I just want her to answer a question that relates to, she said something that's important, that if,
Oh, she's not sure. Stay with Dad. Turn your head back to the detective. Danger. Both of them. They recognize it. Do you recognize that we recognized it seconds before it exploded? But there was that little change, wasn't there? Now they're both on edge.
He didn't have a child on the way, or if she didn't know that, she would have continued the relationship, right?
But he killed his kids. At what point does he think that I'm going to be in a relationship?
I'm not talking about the children. I'm just talking specifically about her. If you only knew, if the kids were still here, and he called you and said, "I'm divorced from my wife,"
look at her,
and he gets away with this. Do you understand what I'm thinking from his aspect?
You need to get your questions clear, detective.
I still wouldn't do it. I still wouldn't do it because I'd be like, where did she go?
Okay.
I still wouldn't do it because I'd be like, where did she go? Very strange.
Because I'm under the impression that she's a really good mom. Like,
in deception detection and statement analysis, forensic linguistics, intelligence, whatever you want to call it, very often the good mum is the mother who we suspect, who starts using the language of claiming to be a really good mum. But here we have a different. Here we have Nichol claiming that Shanann is the really good mum. And she's become extremely worried about the tone of question and the type of question. And so is Dad. Dad's on edge. She's on edge. He's aware that the heat has been turned up. Let's see what happens.
he never bashed her momming skills. Like, no.
And he never bashed. And he never bashed. That was interesting, wasn't it?
No, I wouldn't know.
Okay.
No.
And that, you see where I'm trying to take that?
Yes.
So you guys never had
Oh, I'm tired. I'm hungry. I don't feel very well. Did you notice?
I just love
conversation
him.
about the child, period.
I didn't know at all.
All right. And by your words, if
I didn't know at all. You see, when the statement needs the backup or the added at all here, it becomes deceptive.
you did know, you would have ended the relationship.
Well, because it wouldn't have made sense to me that he's like, I'm getting.
So she doesn't answer the question, does she? She avoids it. Starts with the well.
Separated. Oh, by the way, I have a baby on the way. It's like,
That's 15 weeks.
You are a liar. You're just trying to sleep with me.
I think we can conclude from what we've heard so far for the last hour and 15 minutes or so that Nichol Kessinger is deceptive in this interview. Not a little bit, but extremely deceptive.
Boom. This is the forensic statement analysis guru, in my opinion. And without knowing anything about this case, he is able to conclude that she is deceptive. Not only is she deceptive, he is extremely deceptive. And by his reaction, at times, shockingly deceptive.
And I wonder whether or not she knows before calling the police. I wonder if she knew, which is why she was up all night and she couldn't sleep.
Let me answer your question, sir. She knew. And law enforcement and district attorney work knew that she knew. And that is a fact. It's spelled out through their text messages that were recovered.
And it's not even her family, she told us. In my opinion, this individual knew.
That's what I would have probably interpreted that as, and I'd
Boom. Did you hear that? He said, in my opinion, she knew. She knew. She knew. This is so just gratifying. Somebody who doesn't know anything about the case, but is an absolute expert in his field in detecting deception, knows that she knew that the family had been murdered.
I saw him a few times. I saw him this past Saturday. I saw him the Wednesday before that. And he wanted to see me more. I was the one who wanted my space. I was like, nope, your kids are home.
No, I was like, nope, your kids are home. I wonder how much pressure she put on him to get rid of his family in order to be with her. That's what I think has been going on here. I think she's been using hypnotic language patterns, and I think she has influenced Watts to replace Shanann, in effect.
Okay, so there it is. She said, he's like, I think that's what's been going on here. I think she's been using hypnotic language patterns, and to him that means something specific, to influence Watts to get rid of Shanann. What do you guys think of that? What do you think of that? When he said that, this is a conclusion he comes to without knowing anything about the case. I was blown away because I just have had so much respect for this gentleman and for this methodology of forensic linguistic statement analysis since he hit YouTube. I watched the first video and I've been hooked ever since. I think I've watched every single one of his videos. And I think that he is the only YouTube channel where I can seriously say that. And I really, truly think that I have. I just cannot recommend this channel more. What do you guys think of that? He said she's using hypnotic language patterns to influence Watts to get rid of Shanann. And well, honey, she was doing more, but I think that, yeah, that as well. And thank you for pointing this out so clearly to us and with a degree of scientific certainty. This is amazing. District Attorney Rourke, ding, 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 ding. Answer your phone, honey. We've got to tell you something. Rourke. Bitch.
I believe this individual is extremely dangerous.
Go hang out with your kids. And even on Wednesday, I cut it short.
I forgot. He said, I think this individual is extremely dangerous. Just let that sink in. I feel like it's Christmas morning. All of the trolls who've been trolling me for the past 5 years, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Like he came and hang out with me for a few hours, and then I was like, go chill with your kids. I was always like,
do you know specifically where you guys went? Did you meet at your house? Did you guys go to any restaurants? Did you go to establishments? Where'd you go?
Last Wednesday, he came to my house, and this past Saturday, we went to, what's the name of that bar that we used to go to? It's not the same, a Lazy Dog, but it's the one off of 144th and I-25. I think it's 144th up there.
And it's the Lazy Dog?
Yes.
Did he ever mention a Rockies game that night?
No, I don't think so. But there was the Broncos playing.
Okay.
Which we couldn't see because they sent us in a crappy spot. That's okay because it's preseason. But
so do you recall what time you went there?
I like the way the detective pretended to laugh. The circumstances do not really lend itself to this type of levity. She forgets that there are 2 little girls stuffed into an oil barrel, or oil tanks more specifically. And also they couldn't fit in very easily, so they were hurt during that process. In terms of, they'd already passed away, but their bodies were damaged going inside the oil tank because the entrance was very, very small. there was an element of being forced, which caused that.
Oops. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut him off. So Leslie says, what about the occult she belonged to or was in contact with, a spiritual advisor? So we talked about that in the very beginning of this live stream, that spiritual advisor who is connected with that occult group, the OTO, called her 2 incoming calls from him on the day of the murders around 2 o'clock and 2:30 p.m. Of the 6 weeks of her phone records that we have, it's the only time she had incoming calls from him. So what's that about? And we're going to go back to that in about 5 or 10 minutes here. This is going to be a little bit of a long stream. Everyone buckle up and please do hit that like if you do. I'd really appreciate it.
Damage.
No, I remember. Well, kind of. So he had to get a babysitter that night.
Do you know who that was?
Somebody who's really young. I remember I asked him who his babysitter was, and he's like, "We have 2. This girl's only 17, but the other one's out of town. So this girl's gonna stay, and she doesn't do overnights. So I gotta be back by 10." And I remember her saying that, and him saying that.
Okay, let's go back to the analysis. Let's carry on. Where did we get up to? Yeah, so in the second witness, let's listen to what this is all about, really getting that empathy and really understanding what they're saying. I could not.
Now, this is the last few minutes here, and pay very close attention. This is a summarizing analysis of everything that we've listened to using that method of VEROSCOPE forensic statement analysis to detect deception. And this is like pretty like, wow.
Sleep on Monday night, not at all. I could not sleep, and this was not even my family. That's the most concerning for me. I denied thinking about murder 3 times, but nobody asked me. I denied it 3 times because once was not enough. I could tell you cleanly that I did not know she was pregnant. I could not tell you cleanly that I did not suspect him. I said, I really thought she just left. Then I said it again. I did. The door would not close because the truth was standing in it. This is the question I would have asked. Nichol, you said you could not sleep at all on Monday night. You called Chris at 2 a.m. in the morning. You said this was not even your family. Can you describe for me from the time left until the time you fell asleep, exactly what you did, what you thought about, and what you were afraid of? Do excuse the transcript error here. That's why I slowed down to try and work out what's that. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's VEROSCOPE. Do subscribe if you haven't already. Do check out some of the science papers that are in the description if that's your thing. Although they are a little bit difficult to read, they're not particularly.
Okay, so definitely please go check out VEROSCOPE. I put all the links to the videos that we're crediting and also the videos I referenced in the description. And sorry, my mic is fighting with StreamYard. God damn it, StreamYard. I swore off StreamYard, but here we are. And I'm going to bring the Crime Catalyst video back into the stream while I fix this.
Was a part of the OTO. or had close friends associated with the OTO, then there's actually get around to explaining it in detail. But now I'm going to walk you through what I think could have happened and how this thing progressed into what it ultimately became. And we're going to get into some more dark things. If Nichol was a part of the OTO or had close friends associated with the OTO, then there's no doubt in my mind that she was practicing dark magic and rituals. If you're not familiar with the belief system of the OTO, then stick around because we're going to get into it. But before we get there, we got to work backwards a little bit. We got to go back to the beginning, to Nichole's teenage or early adulthood years. We got to go back to when I believe she first started dabbling in witchcraft. Some of my statements might be stated as fact, but it's all alleged and it's just for the purpose of explaining the theory. Nichol studied in science and earth's minerals and allegedly dabbled in witchcraft long before she met Chris Watts. She used witchcraft and spells to gain personal empowerment, spiritual growth, and a sense of control over her life. By claiming the power attributed to witchcraft, she was able to gain influence over other people for personal empowerment or for financial gain. During my research, I read a lot of stories about women sharing what brought them to witchcraft. Many shared about being in a dark place in that time in their life, about being tired, overwhelmed, uncomfortable, miserable. They had lost their joy and had feelings of giving up. And witchcraft pulled them out of that darkness. This is likely.
Let me just clarify really here. Somebody just asked a question. What is OTO? So it is Ordo Templi Orientis. It is an esoteric fraternal organization founded in the early 20th century, often associated with the magical teachings of Aleister Crowley. While it has been described by some as a cult or having cult-like aspects, it is more formally recognized as a religious and initiatory organization centered on the philosophy of Thelma. The letters of OTO stand for, we just went over that. And Thelma was an order that was heavily modified by Aleister Crowley to align with his, and we've done another live stream on this. I'll link down the description too, with his beliefs of religion, which focuses on individual self-discovery through ritual and allegory. Perfect for Nichol Kessinger. It's all about yourself. The structure of it, it's an initiatory society with a series of degrees similar to Freemasonry. My grandfather was a 33rd degree Freemason. We're not gonna talk badly about them. I love my grandfather dearly. He was a good man. And in the initiation, membership involves formal physical ceremonies conducted by character holding initiators, and there's a Gnostic mass. I'm just reading through this information page. Allegations of cult behavior. Some individuals have described the OTO as a cult, suggesting it operates around specific intense beliefs, but others distinguish it from S-word or high control cults. This organization operates in various parts of the world, including the United States, and it requires members to be adults of good rapport. And we don't know exactly what that means, but okay, let me continue with this. Hopefully I said something there.
True for Nichol Kessinger. Nichol was a rebellious teenager. At a young age, she was drinking and smoking, partying. She was arrested for disorderly conduct after an incident where she disobeyed a police officer. She honestly could have been charged with a lot more. The police officer had to use his baton to break through the glass door after Nichol instructed all of her friends not to let them in. This type of behavior will get you nowhere fast. Her life wasn't going well, headed straight for the gutter. We could argue that it was her troublesome teenage years that brought her to witchcraft, because something caused a pretty quick turnaround. She did a complete 180 and decided to be smart and further her education. She graduated from Colorado State University with a Bachelor of Science in 2013. She also has an Associate of Science degree focused on geological and earth sciences from the Community College of Aurora. Did witchcraft play a role in shaping her destiny? Maybe it was when she started studying science and the earth, and she began discovering the use of Earth's energy to manifest her dreams in life. She spent her early adult years building her craft. As a baby witch, she likely started very simple. Beginners typically master the art of protection spells. She probably did a lot of research. We all know how big she was on reading.
I did tell him, just read. Like, that's what I always just tell him, just read. Reading is so good for you.
She would have learned about pentacles and pentagrams, casting a circle, grounding, shadow work. Beginners experience more luck, improved health, stronger intuition, being more open-minded. They feel like they gain control over their life, personal power, sense of peace, feeling grounded, connected to self and nature, and they feel protected. She would have needed to choose a path. What type of magic did she want to do? Crystal magic, herbal magic? And so at this point in her life, things were probably going pretty good for her, except for in the relationship and love department. She had many failed relationships. Before meeting Chris Watts, she was with an abusive man. She found herself having to escape that relationship by going into hiding. I believe this is when she got more intensely involved in magic in order to manifest love in her life. She was on the prowl looking for a love interest to test her newly discovered practices, to put her power to use, and manifest a husband. I believe she crossed paths with Shanann in 2017 when she Googled her and Chris, and she saw all of the qualities that she had been looking for in someone else's husband.
The fact that he was like very open with communicating with me if there were any like differences on how we saw things or just like open-minded about things. It was actually, I personally thought it was kind of unique because usually most of the men that I've ever met are typically very closed off, and I didn't get that from him.
She realized she was educated in doing the work needed for a position at Chris Watts' workplace at Anadarko. What do people use magic and spells for? To manifest and get what they want in life. So she did some spell work to get contracted out to Anadarko so that she would be in close contact with her new love interest, her future husband. Once that door was open and she got the job, she believed that the rest would be a cakewalk.
Hey everybody!
She watched Shanann online to get a bird's eye view of what all their lives entail.
I may or may not be listening to Christmas music. May. So those of you know me, I come from a family that is full of Christmas cheer. My girls are being raised to how Christmas is like one of their favorite times of the year.
And she spotted the weaknesses in Chris and Shanann's marriage. Shanann was a busy lady.
Don't mind the hair and everything. I'm a hot mess today. The cleaning. I'm getting ready to bring up all the Christmas decorations, which is a lot.
Trying to juggle being a mom, a homemaker, a wife, a working stay-at-home mother.
Definitely have been super busy over this way. Trying to get everything situated between school with the girls. They were sick last week. That kept me really busy.
Naturally, it's hard to divide your time and energy equally 24/7. Manipulative people will often look for weaknesses and exploit them when it suits them most. Nichol Kessinger, being a witch, allegedly, who is already naturally manipulative and very good at reading emotions, could easily identify the insecurities and fears of a weak-minded person like Chris Watts. And I've often wondered if Shanann Watts was also targeted by Nichol Kessinger. Did she do something to try to weaken Shanann, to try to bring her down, make her feel less confident?
Do you know her name at this point?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you okay saying her name?
It's Shanann.
All right. And do you know the children's name?
It's Dawn's.
Very well. I'll bide my time. And as for you, my fine lady, it's true, I can't attend you here now as I'd like, but just try to stay off my way. Just try. I'll get you, my pretty. And your little dog, too. Oh, rubbish. You have no power here. Be gone before somebody drops the house on you.
Remember, the trip kept getting extended. First, it was supposed to be only a couple of weeks, then it turned into 6 weeks. She had this rare opportunity of 100% free alone time with her new man, a fully committed husband and father. I just don't know if I believe that was a coincidence. Shanann was the one who chose her unborn son's name, and she almost named him after the mistress of her husband. Nico Lee sounds a lot like Nicole Lee. It's just too weird. You can't be a practitioner or a witch and not know who Aleister Crowley is. Crowley. I think I've been saying it both ways. Oops. If you research the OTO, you'll come across the name Aleister Crowley, known as the wickedest man, supernaturally evil, the man who spoke to demons. He was an English occultist, a ceremonial magician. He identified himself as a prophet. He is the one who added the K to the word magic. With Nicole being a researcher at heart, did she discover Aleister Crowley's workings? Did she study any of his books?
No, but I did tell him, just read. Like, that's what I always just tell him, just read. Reading is so good for you. I always tell him, like, I tell people about everything. Reading is so good for you.
Secret societies dedicated to seeking wisdom have existed in all ages and cultures, from the birth of the tribesman and the dervish to the elaborate ceremonies of the Freemason. The aim is the same: the programmed alteration of consciousness within a group setting. In 1895, Carl Kellner, a wealthy Australian industrialist and paper chemist, as well as a high-grade Mason, founded the OTO. He met 3 men while he was traveling who instructed him in specific magical practices. The order was first proclaimed in a publication in 1902. After Kellner's death, Theodore Royce became the leader of the OTO, and in 1912, it was published and announced that the order taught the secret of ritual magic. After that announcement, as you might imagine, they experienced a reasonably steady growth. In 1912, the historic meeting between Rouse and Crowley occurred. Crowley wrote that Royce came to him and accused him of revealing order secrets. When Crowley responded that he had no idea what Royce was talking about, Royce opened to a chapter in the Book of Lies. When Crowley looked at it, the interpretation of simple magic unfolded itself to him for the first time. Royce appointed Crowley as supreme and holy king of all the English-speaking world. Then in 1922, Royce resigned as outer head of the order after suffering a stroke and named Crowley his successor.
Aleister Crowley, the man who called himself the Beast 666, black magician, drug fiend, sex addict, and traitor to the British people. I want none of your faint approval or faint dispraise. To hell with Christianity.
Nichol Kessinger used a lot of odd phrases. She called her home a nest and talked about going to a safe house. She used the quote, "Love doesn't murder."
Love does not murder. Hate and resentment. Hate and resentment. That's the way I look at that. And like, I honestly do not remember the order of operations on all of this. I'm pretty sure. I honestly do not remember the order of operations on all of this. Different from his standard operating procedure, because whether his wife is home.
And asked the question, how long has he been in this paradigm shifting?
How long has his brain been like shifting to this paradigm shift where he feels the need to do this? It's like,
it took me a minute to find this word because I had never heard it before. I wasn't sure how to spell it. It's definitely not a word that was a part of my vocabulary.
how long has his brain been like shifting to this paradigm shift?
Kessinger might have been familiar with it. because it was a phrase created by a philosopher of science. And it basically means...
I don't know. I've always known what paradigm means and paradigm shift means. What about you guys?
Means a transformation. When your way of thinking is changed to a new and different way of thinking. With magic, you can send your dream lover straight to your doorstep. Someone who has had a love spell cast on them may experience mood changes, unusual feeling of happiness and satisfaction. Love and lust spells can have the target dreaming about them, steering their growing attention and attraction towards them. Love spells will have the target smelling the other person. They might hear a low-toned voice calling their name.
Christopher.
They may experience insomnia.
Which I don't know if it's like an insomnia thing or what.
People being targeted by a love spell may find themselves struggling to get even the slightest of sleep.
I don't think I was probably sleeping for 3 hours a night. It felt like I was working out all day, even though I wasn't. Which I don't know if it was like an insomnia thing or what. Like I wasn't. I mean, even Nikki said that, like, no, I'd fall asleep on the couch, on her couch while I was talking to her, and then like pick back up like I never knew I fell asleep.
Love spells could be tempting when you want a specific individual to fall for you, but you should be careful because the spell should be cast in the right way. It can be dangerous if negative thoughts sneak in. Love spells work through intention manifestation. The spellcaster should always be careful of what they want and be sure that their motives are positive and loving. Love spells can backfire. The negative energy you might use to cast a spell comes back threefold in a negative way. It's a bad idea to do magic to break up couples, no matter how you may feel the need to end up with your dream lover. To me, Kessinger seemed to be a deep thinker. She spoke almost like a philosopher. While reading through some discussion forums, I thought it was very interesting. People were saying that one of the things that OTO members are encouraged to do is read.
Just read. Like, that's not always just time. Just read. Reading is so good for you.
In these forums, the question was asked about joining the OTO and are they dangerous? Some answered no, they are not dangerous as long as you can handle a little bit of rituals and magic shenanigans. Some suggested that they are just strong-minded people who played a little bit too much Dungeons and Dragons. Then some went on to say that members of the OTO were power-hungry and abusive. They suggested that if you associate with these people, you need to have situational awareness and proper psychological and behavioral boundaries. One writer shared his experience with possibly joining the OTO. He writes, in order to become a member, a person has to go through a lot of trouble to seek them out. Many people who study the occult do not take their interest this far. The group doesn't do initiations often. They do not aggressively recruit people. If you don't want to be there, they don't want you there. When I went to a meeting, the first thing they told us was, we didn't look for you. What is it you expect to gain? They do take dues from members. When he was there, it was $75 for the main organization and another $75 for the local group per year. He shared that he did not have the money at the time, so he ended up not joining. He also said that the rumors of this group being a part of a conspiracy to control the world are not true. He also said that the higher-ups didn't appear particularly rich, and nobody seemed to be ruling the world. But, in my opinion, if their teachings are based on Aleister Crowley's work, then it's quite disturbing and very scary.
So
like rain without legs, that earth may swallow up my shame.
His belief system was basically all about liberation, no restrictions, follow your heart, follow your goal in life, and do that above all else. Thelema teaches that people should have the freedom to do whatever they want. Thelemites should strive to ascend to higher states of existence, uniting oneself with higher powers and understanding and embracing one's true will, their ultimate purpose and place in life. One of his books, The Book of Law, which served as the basis for the magic system he dedicated his life to, was written as a result of him believing he had telepathically contacted and communicated with an Egyptian god. He claimed the voice dictated to him the Book of the Law. He named his daughter after a Greek goddess associated with magic, witchcraft, the moon, spells, the night. Aleister Crowley was married and had a family, but he also had many mistresses and prostitutes. He is potentially the most infamous practitioner of dark magic. He became interested in mysticism and the occult. He rebelled against his Christian upbringing, causing his mother to dub him the Beast. He indulged in taking and sexual experiments. He studied ancient traditions involving yoga. He developed an interest in invoking in all the rituals he performed. He had failed to communicate with a demonic entity. He believed this was necessary to become a supreme master of the occult who could harness the powers of darkness. He once tried to perform a ritual to open the gates of hell, summoning the devil himself. While doing this, he saw a blinding white light and realized that can be used as a sacrament in praise of the gods.
Well, and it seems as though, and again, it's hard to talk about, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but it also seems, is it accurate to say this, what you were able to say, Nikki, this is what I would like, this is what I meant to you, or blah, and maybe not what you
No, Nikki just wanted, she wanted what she wanted. She wanted what she wanted. She wanted to do it pretty much all the time. She wanted to do it pretty much all the time. Pretty much all the time. I was like, okay, it's not me.
He believed it was a shortcut to go straight in to achieve whatever you wanted to achieve magically. He united and magic into one occult vision. They performed rituals under the influence of hashes, opium, and cocaine. They had a dog named Satan.
In 1920, Aleister Crowley founded a commune in Sicily to practice the beliefs that he said would one day sweep away Christianity and free men from all restriction and repression. 3 years later, Mussolini deported Crowley and his followers from Sicily after reports of human and animal unimaginable sexual depravity caused an international scandal. The British press called Crowley the wickedest man in the world.
It's believed that Crowley's house was cursed. Visitors were told, do not go inside.
I want none of your fake approval or fake disgrace to hell, Christianity, rationalism, Buddhism. I want blasphemy, murder, revolution, anything bad or good, but strong.
If she'd adopted Crowley's belief system, it was you go after what you want, fulfill your needs regardless of what anyone else thinks or feels.
Very clever. A genius, for God's sake. A raving genius, you know. In a world of little tiny people, it's Crowley saying, my God, why are you so unhappy? You want to make love? Well, make love, for Christ's sake. You want to take hopes, you want to expand your consciousness. Please do it.
When she set her eyes on Chris Watts, nothing was going to stop her from going after him.
He wasn't out of the marriage that he was already in.
Right. So your concern was more about his prior marriage to his children.
I guess. I wasn't really that worried about him at the time.
Nichol wanted love in her life, but she felt like he might need a nudge in that direction to make it happen.
It wasn't even really the kids. It was that he'd already been married before, and I was just like, I don't know if I'm in a long-term relationship with this guy, if that's something he would eventually want. Because something like I would eventually want, you know.
Magic and mind games are strategically used together to gain an advantage and to influence someone on a greater level. Mind games create fear, causing them to question reality and degrade their trust in themselves and others. She was playing all sorts of mind games with Chris Watts. She would tell him, "Go be with your kids," then complain if she couldn't talk to him. She would say, "Go and fix things with your wife," but then get upset with him when he couldn't answer her calls. She did everything in her power, exhausted all of her resources to convince Chris to choose her, and it all seemed to be going smoothly until he started dragging his feet on getting himself an apartment and moving out of the house. This is when, in my opinion, Nichol Kessinger lost it. I think she could feel him slipping away. She reached out to her spiritual advisor, who kind of looks like Aleister Crowley. A black magic spell may have been performed by Kessinger and her occult friends in order to speed up the process and make certain that this separation would happen. This would also make sense as to why all of her friends kept quiet and actually helped her hide, because nobody's going to want to admit that they were associated with any of this, especially if they're all a part of a secret society. They would have no problem keeping this quiet. Keeping secrets is what they do.
And I saw the interview that he had. He just looked really different to me.
How so?
It's the scariest shit I think I've ever seen in my life. The light in his eyes is gone. The light in his eyes is gone. I like a different color now. It's like he has no soul. It's like he has no soul. I swear to God. I saw it and I was just like, look at his eyes, look at his eyes, look at his eyes. I saw his mugshot. They're not even the same color. They're not even the same color. Like when you guys retrieve the pictures that are on my phone, look at his eyes then, compared to now, like it's the scariest shit I think I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, I started getting really scared. And like I kept telling him I was scared. I was really freaking scared. I was really freaking scared. And it made me, like, I just started getting scared. And I remember like telling him that throughout the whole day. Like I don't know how many times I texted him that. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 8 to 10 times. I'm just like, I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. Or I'm just like, I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. It's the scariest shit I think I've ever seen in my life. It freaked me out. I was like, that's not even the same man that I know. That's not even the same man that I know. And it was really uncomfortable. Let me just see how this plays out.
Like, it's very, very flattering to him and all anything I have to say about him. It was just that I wasn't 100% committed to him yet. I mean, I was an honest with him. I wasn't seeing any of the men, but I wasn't like, hey, this is the guy I want to spend the rest of my life with. And part of the reason that I was uncertain, I mean, yeah, he already told me.
After the fact, when all of this sort of had time to marinate with Nichol Kessinger, she became very concerned with those Thrive patches that Chris had been wearing.
I mean, some of the stuff they said about on the Thrive patch, so it's not like FDA approved. How it can alter somebody's mind, like
combining certain herbs is nothing to play around with.
Valentina knows which herbs to collect and how to store them. She collects cowberry in autumn with the first frost so that the grass is still green.
It can potentially be dangerous to combine certain herbs, especially if you're not even sure what herbs are in certain products. I think Kessinger may have started to wonder if any of the herbs Chris was consuming, combined with whatever herbs she had been putting in that tea, had caused this reaction in Chris that made him do this. I think at this point she was trying to figure out how this all went wrong.
You don't feel like they changed your personality or anything like that, though? Or do you?
I don't really know. I know that I just felt different on those than any other batch. It was, I feel like I could just go longer and longer each day. And I'm not sure like if that was probably a bad thing. Some of the stuff they put in there, like, yeah, I can relate to it, but like it doesn't Look up for the fact what happened.
I legitimately think that meant she was sliding off of his cracker long before I came into his life. Like, I just don't believe that something that just happened in a day or 2 days. I don't think it happened in 2 months. I think that it's something that takes a very, very long time to develop.
Right. So that scares you when you look back at it?
Yeah, because I think about it, I'm like, he could have had that capacity to do that whether I was in his life or not. He could have had that capacity to do that maybe not just for them. It could have been me. It could have been our coworkers.
Thank you so much for coming out here with me, Christopher. I'm having a wonderful time. You mean a lot to me, and I'm glad that you're having a blast.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, see, Kevin, she didn't need to worry about having a baby. Well, maybe she did. We don't know. To gain weight. She did that all on her own. Good girl. Good girl.
I'm so out of breath. Thank you so much for coming out here with me, Christopher. I'm having a wonderful time. You mean a lot to me. I'm glad that you're having a blast. I am so out of breath.
Oops, sorry. So, okay, again, that was a channel Crime Catalyst. We also watched VEROSCOPE. Yeah. Okay, they're both linked in the description box. Why? Why is my mic fighting with StreamYard? Okay. Damn. Okay, so I think, okay, there it's. Okay, is this going to work? Okay, my God. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I think we covered some really incredible information. Okay, this is all syncing now. Okay, that's great. Awesome. I mean, man, what do you guys think? Such great comments in chat. And hey, Leslie, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Thank you for being here. And I hope, Leslie, that you can come to the Patreon YouTube members live stream tomorrow night. I got everything all ironed out. I figured out how to simulcast and all that, even though StreamYard doesn't really want us to do that. So we have that all nice and worked out. It's going to be nice and smooth. We will have audio and video and all that good stuff. So just so you know how to access it, for those of you who are Patreon members, let's see. Sorry, I'm doing two things at one time here. Patreon members, check Patreon because I'm going to send you the link to the live stream through Patreon. So that's how I'm able to do it. So you just go to Patreon, and those of you who are paid members, it's $5 a month. And you know what? I appreciate everybody. And I know not everybody can become a member, and I am sorry for that. And if you really would like to become a member, but you just simply can't afford it, please email me at whatsobsession@gmail.com because I don't want anyone to be excluded. If you really want to be part of this because you just simply can't afford it, I totally get it. Here's the thumbnail for it. You see, we're going to be talking about. So please email me at whatsobsession@gmail.com and I'll make sure that you can have access anyway. But joining as a Patreon member for $5 a month really is one of the most effective, best ways you can support the channel. Just thank you so much for all those of you who are Patreon members, YouTube members. It really, really, really helps. I've had for the past about year or so, just had a really hard time with YouTube, getting content up, getting content to stay, having it not be age restricted, not having it demonetized. You know, I've kind of all but you know, I've just kind of had to not value that so much. But, you know, running the channel and doing all this takes time. So supporting me and the channel through Patreon with a membership is really just such an awesome way to show support. So I ask that you'd consider it if it's something you can do and you think you want to be part of that. We're doing at least weekly live streams. They're a little more, you know, casual. We can just talk, exchange ideas. It's totally uncensored. We can say anything that we want to. How freaking amazing, right? And here is the link here if you're interested in checking it out. It's a really fun group. And I would love for you to be part of it. I love being able to actually talk to people and interact with people, you know, on Patreon, because it's a smaller group of members. That's where if you're trying to get a hold of me, I can respond to you right away. That's just kind of the avenue, you know, if you want to hear right back from me or a moderator, or just kind of like, you know, get quicker, higher level service, I suggest becoming a Patreon member, because that is definitely the way to do it. With that being said, I just appreciate the crap out of all of you. So please do know that. And tomorrow night, we're going to continue to talk about the information known to investigators and District Attorney Rourke, and well, myself and a few other people in the world now that I can't talk about on YouTube. And the person I told you, his name is Michael, who firsthand came across this, is getting flack from Weld County, and it really freaked his wife out. Didn't freak him out, he says, but his wife is all worried about it, worried about his profession, et cetera, et cetera. That's why I can talk about it on Patreon and can only disclose so much at this time. Hopefully that's going to pass. He's, you know, taking some action to push back. I think it's okay to say that. And hopefully when District Attorney Rourke is finally out of office, get your ass out of office, bitch. None of this will be a problem anymore, right? So, yeah. Awesome, Connie. I'm so glad you were here. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It was so great. Your comments were just awesome tonight. I think this was kind of a really interesting live. And again, I just absolutely love that, you know, VEROSCOPE uses forensic statement analysis that is scientifically based, evidence backed. You know, I love my pie charts. We like data here. We like to be able to prove things. This channel is, you know, I mean, it has to be verified, fact checked, vetted, all of that stuff. Or, you know, we don't present it as being actual information that you should rely upon. VEROSCOPE is all of that. If you are not familiar with the channel, I suggest getting your butt over there right now and subscribing, checking it out. They cover a number of cases. I just can't say enough about it. But I think it's so interesting how the conclusions that the creator who presents the VEROSCOPE forensic statement analysis method to us, who has been analyzing Nichol Kessinger's interviews, has come to the same conclusions just based on statement analysis that those of us who've been following the case for a really long time and know all of the details about it, we're all coming to the same conclusions. You know why? Because it's the goddamn truth. And I think by him doing the work that he does and coming to these same conclusions without knowing all of the facts of the case, the way many of us do, really gives a lot of validity to what we're doing here. Hi, Aunt Remus 7726, Shanann. Yeah, and you know, let's please remember these innocent, beautiful victims, Shanann, Bella, Cece, and unborn baby Nico, because gosh, they so much deserve it. LMP, what? No disrespect, but why is this still being talked about? I understand the question. It's a really long answer. It's addressed in some way through all of the videos that I put out recently, but thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. Yeah, totally great, right? Okay, so again, here's a link to the Patreon membership if you would like to consider joining us tomorrow night, and I hope to see a lot of you guys there. Goodness gracious. And I also did, just like yesterday, 2 days ago, finally put out the part 2 that focuses on the 24 hours before the murders, and I'll link that too. Let me get that link. Sorry, it's and if you can hear some background noise, my 17-year-old son has a shitload of friends over right now they're being 17-year-old boys. So I'm just going to let them. I kicked them out of the house for a little while earlier on. So, but they can be here. They can live right now. So here's a link for the part 2 of the 24 hours before the Watts murder, and it focuses on Nichol Kessinger's suspicious activity. Make sure to watch it all the way through to the end where everything is tied together. I think you will be like, wowed. So, all right, guys. Love you so much. It's been great to hear from you guys. Great to chat with you. Hope to see you tomorrow night too, where we can talk some more. I appreciate you so very much. And remember to be good to yourself because you deserve it. Gosh darn it. You do, because you are awesome. Awesome. And yeah, I hope to see you soon.
Here we go once again. Foreign memories, lying amen. Don't you worry, it's gonna be alright. 'Cause I'm the judge and jury, and we'll be up all night. You better check for pose. You better check for pose. You better check for
They are dead on that.
all the best all in the blind spot that we don't see. Wipe the dirt.
It was earlier tonight. I don't.
13, she had her 13th birthday party. She was happy that we were all together.
She wanted to walk the rest of the way.